welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie. Today I'm here to do my March 2021 wrap-up. I finally have a wrap-up this year. Isn't it a freaking miracle at this point? I mentioned this in videos before, but I've been in like a massive reading slump these past few months. I would say it started really in November during NaNoWriMo and then really hit hard in December and then into the beginning of the year. So we're finally doing a wrap-up this year, guys. March was somewhat of a busy month, I would say. I had a lot of things going on, and again, I was still in this slump, so I didn't really have the time to read or the motivation for that matter to read until like the last week of the month, and that was only because I was participating in a readathon, which I'll talk about in a second. And that really helped me get in the mood to read. And I managed to read a book and a half this month. I'm technically counting it as 2 books because I have read the second book before. So by the time you guys are seeing this video, I probably would have finished it. So I'll just count and say I've read 2 books in the month of March. We'll just put it that way because I had to read like majority of it in March. So that is the plan. So without me rambling on any further, let's jump right in and get started with the wrap up. So as usual, I'm going to start off with my monthly stats as always. So like I mentioned, in the month of March, I technically read a book and a half, but I'm going to count it as 2 books. I had no DNFs. I read both of the books I read this month were physical books. I read no ebooks and no audiobooks. I participated in 1 readathon and I read a total of 414 pages. As far as genres read, I read 1 science fiction and 1 nonfiction. As far as ratings that I gave out this month, I had no books I gave no rating, no 1 stars, no 2 stars, 1 3-star, no 4 stars, and 1 5-star. So without me rambling on any further, let's jump into the books that I read. The book I read in the month of March was a book that was essentially sent to me for review by the publisher. This was a couple of years ago, but thank you so much to HMH, as always, for sending me a copy of this book. That is We Shall Be Miranda's Life Lessons from Sex and the City's Most Underrated Character by Chelsea Fairless and Lauren Groney. So this is, I guess you could call it a self-help book based on a character from Sex and the City. Now, again, I was sent this by the publisher, which I'm always grateful for. And to be honest with you guys, I did enjoy this book, but as somebody who has never seen Sex and the City, I think it's based off a book series too, which I've never read. I didn't get a lot out of it, to be honest. I did connect with the character this is based off of a lot and a lot of traits, but if I had seen the show or watched the movies, I think I would have gotten a lot more out of it. Now, if you guys are fans of the show, I think you'll really like this. Again, I have never seen it. I've never really intend to see it, but maybe one day I could change my mind. But there is some very interesting stuff in this book. It is talking about a lot of stuff, like as you could probably expect from a self-help book. But yeah, it is interesting. I enjoyed it for what it was, and I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. The only other book that I want to talk about in this video, because I technically haven't finished it yet, but I am still counting it as the book I read in March, is Star Wars Revenge of the Sith by Matthew Stover. Now, this is a book I reread a gazillion times. That is why I'm counting it as fully read in March, if you guys get me. I have reread this book probably at least 100 times. As you guys can tell by the state of this book, I've literally had this since probably 2008. This is the oldest book on my shelves. I've had it for a very long time. I've read this more times than I probably want to admit. I love this book. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome, of course. Hope you enjoy your time here. This is the novelization of my favorite movie of all time, which is the 3rd movie in the Star Wars saga. I love it so much. I reread this book, I want to say during the reading rush last year. I'll link the vlog if I can find it in the cards for you guys, where I go more into detail. I'm not going to spoil or anything because I have a full movie and book review. If you guys want to see that, I'll also link it on the screen, going over my more spoilery thoughts. But at that time, it was the first time I had reread the book and seen the movie since the Clone Wars show ended. Now, I could go on and on about the Clone Wars. I'm not going to do that in this video, but I could. The Clone Wars really gave me a whole nother perspective on Revenge of the Sith as a whole, because I love this movie. I always will. Again, it's my favorite movie of all time, and the Clone Wars somehow made me love it even more. And when I was rereading this book last year, I saw little bits and pieces of characters who had been mentioned in the Clone Wars that actually I never knew were in Revenge of the Sith and just happened to be mentioned. And now as I'm rereading it again, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many crossovers. Why didn't I see this before? Again, this is probably the oldest book on my shelves. I literally had this for like 15 years at this point. And again, I could go on a 10-hour, not a rant, what's the word I'm looking for, a spiel, a 10-hour spiel on how much I love this book, how much I love this movie, how much I love the Clone Wars, but we'll say that for another day. But if you guys can tell, this is going to be a 5 out of 5 star read for me. I don't think anybody is surprised. That is going to be it for me this month, guys. Oh my gosh, March. Hopefully April will be a lot better of a reading month. You know, 2 books read in March isn't terrible. I'll take it, but hopefully the reading year will get better from here on out. But if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified when I post a new video. And make sure you let me know in the comments down below what you guys read in the month of March, as I would love to know. As always, all my social media links, along links to both of these books, will be linked down below in case you guys want to check those out. And while being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you soon for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye.